All right, everybody. I think I'm going to call this video everything I know about Torx, inverted Torx, stuff like that. Anyways, so I'm going to start off with my learning journey and where I went. Um, so a long time ago, I bought this set. I don't even know where I got it. I probably got it at like AutoZone or O'Reilly's or probably AutoZone because I ran into this funny star pattern thing, and so I bought this set and it worked for a long time. I didn't really run into anything weird. Um, but then one day I was working on I was rewiring a trailer, and it had a bunch of the Torx bolts or screws, and in these, like, it seemed like it was in between one of those sizes, so it didn't fit. Um, and so it was frustrating. I didn't know what to do. I mean, I did what I needed to do to get the job done, but it just kind of left me like I needed to expand my collection. Um, and then I went and bought. Well, no, yeah. Then I went and got my Chevy Tahoe, and I went to do a brake job, and the caliper bolt was a Torx, which was hard because I couldn't see. Like, it's on the back side of the caliper, so I couldn't even see it. I just, you can kind of look around and feel it and stuff, and I didn't have anything that big, and so I took an Allen wrench and stuck the Allen wrench inside to kind of get a feel for how big the hole was. And then I found the Allen wrench that was the right size for that, and then I took it to Home Depot. And luckily, I was able to buy this guy, T55, 3/8 drive for like $1, less than $2. It was less than $2. So that was good because I was broke. Um, then later, I was taking off the I was taking off the valve cover, my valve cover, and I needed this size, which was T40, and you can see that it broke it. See if I can get more light in this. Light it up a little. Okay, so anyways, you can see that it broke the tip of that one right there, and it's because it's a tamper-proof because there's a hole in the middle. So I was like, all right, well, let me. So I went back to Home Depot, bought a T40, and this works just fine. Anyway, so because of those, then I went later on. I know these aren't Torx, but it explains my reasoning. I went and I bought this set of Allens. I needed some Allen metrics, and so I bought these. These are Husky as well, and I should have bought the. They have a set that has these with the Torx, and it's cheaper to buy the set than it is to buy the Allens and then the Torx. But anyways, I bought these and to work on bikes. And one of the things that I found was that this does not have, and a lot of these sets don't have, doesn't have a 5.5 millimeter Allen, which most people probably don't need. But my bike has a whole bunch of bolts that are 5.5 Allen. So, so I went looking around on Amazon, and I found Capri. So I bought this set, and the only reason again I bought this set was because it has a 5.5. I was about ready to, in fact, I was getting ready to make my own by buying a socket that's 5.5 and then taking an Allen key and then cutting it. But anyways, I found this set, so I bought it. It was pretty cheap. this Capri set, and I've used this a couple times and for my bike, and it works great. So that kind of got me looking at Capri. I looked at Tekton, and they just looked really cheap. In fact, later on I bought this one, was on super clearance because they changed. And this is not metric. It's like, this says 1/4 inch, but all it says is 1/4 inch Taiwan. So this is Tekton before. There's nothing that's Tekton on here. So these are the old Tekton, and I haven't looked and see if they've changed. I mean, they've changed a ton of other stuff, so it's pretty likely that that they've redone these. But this is old, and it was on, like, there's a store that sells these, and they were clearancing them out. So this was like really cheap. This is why I got it. But I didn't want to buy the Tekton sets because they just looked cheaper. And then the Capri ones, the Capri looked good, and so I was like, well, I need to get a Torx set, a full set of Torx. And I didn't want to get the Husky one because I was worried that they were skipping sizes. I don't know if they, I mean, I can go check and see if they do or not, but at the time I was worried that they skipped sizes. So what I did was I bought, well, first I bought this set from Tekton. And this actually has a lot of size. I mean, I think it has every size. I should check the numbers. But it goes from T5 to T55, or no, T50. I'm sorry. And these are with the 1/4 inch inserts, and then it does have the tamper-proof Torx as well. And then it has this guy. Let me move it down. It has this guy, which has even smaller bits. And the smallest one that this goes down to is a T3, which is pretty dang small. You can barely see the things on it, the teeth or whatever you want to call them. So this covers me small wise. This is a pretty cool set, but it also covered, it wasn't just the Torx, which I was always, for computer stuff. This is where, you use this for computer stuff. You're not gonna, I doubt you'll find this in a vehicle, but you'll find it with your computers. That's why I wanted it. And then it has a bunch of other stuff, so I really like this set. It probably has all the little Allens as well. It even has this one has a, let me get, so it even has a 5.5, and then these are all inch or SAE sizes. So pretty complete for the small sizes sets, but I also needed a bigger set for bigger ones. So I bought some more Capri, and this is an older set. If you go look at their website now, I think they're all, the cases, they're better cases. I don't think they sell this set anymore. But anyways, this one is just, I don't think there's no inverse torque or tamper proof. But they have 1/4 inch drive. These are all 1/4 inch drive up here. And then down here, these are all 3/8 drive. And these ones, and then these two are 1/2 inch. And this is T60. And then the E-torx goes up to E16. So I bought this set, and I didn't use it for a long time. But then I was helping a buddy. I was helping a neighbor fix his car, and he had an Buick Encore, which is like a Chevy Cruze 2010 or something. And I popped the hood open, and the whole engine, it was practically everything that almost everything I touched. Most of it was these little guys. That's most of the fasteners, long ones, short ones, but the heads were all this. And not surprisingly, it was an E10. Because with 10 millimeters, the most common. So the most common of these was an E10. So I was able to use these, and I didn't have anything too bigger than what, because it was all engine stuff with small bolts. His turbo blew out because it didn't get enough oil, and so it like blew itself apart. So I was replacing the turbo, cleaning out. I took the valve cover off and the oil pan off to clean out anything. Anyways, nothing big. Most of it was E10. Every once in a while you get like an E8. I don't know. I don't remember anything small. I think it was mostly E10 and E12. But when I was using it, two things that I found. I think I also used this T50 for taking off his the manifold, the exhaust manifold. It had T50 on there, and I found that first of all, I needed something longer than this. This worked fine for the most part, but it would bump up against here, and so I wanted something longer. And then for the E10, with this 3/8 drive, a lot of times I wanted it skinnier, and I wanted a deep one too. And then the other thing that really annoyed me is if you look, there's these little lobes right there, little rounded bumps, and when you put the socket on, it doesn't go down to here. It just sits up on top of it, so it's only connecting like that much. Very annoying. So that's why I really wasn't impressed with these. Even though they say they can take more torque. And then these, for the most part, it worked. But again, sometimes I wanted a little bit longer, and I put extensions on them, and it worked. But that didn't mean I didn't want something better. And with all the sockets I had, I wish I could, and sometimes I did. I would take I think for these, an 8mm, just a normal 8mm sock 6-point would work. Maybe not to torque it down, but to take it on and off. And so that's what I would do. I'd break it loose with this, and then I would use the 8mm and take it on and off like a tall, thin one. So that made me want, the 12s were fine, but for this one specifically, I wanted, I was like, well, can I find this in a 1/4-inch drive and deep as well? So that started me looking. And then also this one, before I finished his job, this one I was like, I got to find something longer than this. So because of that, I went looking on Amazon, and I found this set. Now this Tecton has another set that's smaller, but it doesn't have the bigger. I wanted the bigger stuff. I especially wanted the T55 because again, with my experience with my Tahoe, it had a T55, so I wanted at least T55 or T60. So that it had all of that, and they're super long. And I think the T50 was I think that was the one I used. But so it worked, but it had a second problem, and that is that this was too long. So first it's too short, now it's too long. I was able to what I did was I put a ratcheting wrench onto here, and then I put it in because it would bump up against his cooling fan. And so I couldn't put a ratchet here, but I could put a ratcheting wrench, opening wrench. There, let me go get, I'll show you. Okay, so here's what I did. So then you can do this deal, and you can turn it like this. Anyways, and this is an 8mm. So this worked to do the job, but I want something shorter than these. I haven't done it yet, but what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to buy this exact set, because I really do like these. And these are much, so the first ones I showed you I didn't get Tekton because they're cheap, but these ones, they look way better. They say Tekton on them. They're nicely punched. Their fit and finish is just like all the other new Tekton stuff. So I really like these. But I want to keep a long set. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to buy another set because they're not that expensive. And then I'm going to cut them in half. Right? And then I'm going to punch out this end out of the socket because it's just glued in. And then I'm going to take the socket and stick it on the shortened end. And then they'll all be like this long. And I can still store them in the case if I wanted to. But this is a good set. So then I got those for that reason. Anyways, moving along with the history of my set building. The next thing I did. So again, I'm on the quest to find something like this that's smaller and longer. So I looked at Harbor Freight because they're cheaper, and I don't need a heavy torqued one. And I found this set that now I know the Icon does have these, but I'm not convinced the Icon is better than Pittsburgh Pro. Now these aren't Pittsburgh Pro, but I don't know if Icon's better than these guys. And these guys are pretty good. But the reason I got these is because they're 1/4 inch, they're deep, and this one is a 10, an E10, which is exactly what I want. So I got this. I haven't even used it yet, but I know that I'm going to use it at some point because newer vehicles keep putting these things on their stuff. So when I need it, I'll have it. Then I bought, I wasn't looking for anything Torx wise. Might have to zoom out on this one. Let's see. Yeah, that works. So there's lots of reviews. I'm not going to review this, but I bought this. This is from Sunex, and it's their 3/8 master set or something. And it has, just normal sockets, shallow and deep, all 3/8 sizes. It's a pretty good range, and they don't skip anything. It also has the swivels. There's lots of reviews. I'm not going to bore you with review of this. But they have Torx right here, T20 to T55. Yep. Which is fine. I think the T60 is generally a 1/2 inch size, so them only going to T55 is good because it's, again, this is just 3/8 drive. And then they have these guys, which are these are the E-torx, and they go from E5 to E16, which is fine for all 3/8 because again, this is only 3/8 size. So I bought this not thinking that I wasn't necessarily getting them for the Torx. I was actually getting, with the price, it's awesome because they include this stuff. But I was getting it just to make sure I had all of these, and really, like, buying just the set of these was like at $100, and then I spend less than $100 more, and I get all the rest of this stuff. And so that's Sunex does that. They don't, their small sets are way more than their big sets, as if you do a per piece comparison in price. But I'm gonna pull this E10 out for later. So I bought this Sunex set, which I really like. And then I start working on my own car, and let's get zoomed in a little bit. And I'm pulling seats on my car, taking the seats out of it's my Chevy or my GMC Yukon. So pulling the seats out to wash underneath them, and I ran into these two guys. And I thought, great, I got what I need to take that off. And I go get this Capri set. So I get the Capri set, take it off, and here's this one, and it was 16. It fit. Again, the same, remember that thing I told you? So it has those lobes on it, and so the socket, look how it fits, and it's wobbly. But it fit, the 16 did. And then I go to pull this nut off, and 16 is too small, my 18 is too small, and this was the biggest one I got. And again, I went and looked in my Tecton set, or not my Tecton, the Sunex set, and it had the biggest was a 16. So yeah, here's the Sunex set, and the biggest is a 16. So it'll fit this one, but it won't fit this one. So now what do? So what I did was, I got to take this off, I just used a normal socket, and it took it off. But then I'm like, well, shoot, I don't want to break these. So obviously I haven't put everything back, but went on Amazon, started looking around. I found this little guy from Sunex, and it has, these are all 1/2-inch drive. So this goes from E10 to E24. Has E22, E20, E18. I don't like these ones, the E16 to E10. I didn't need, because I have the smaller ones. I have the other Sunex ones that are in 3/8. But it was cheaper. It was cheaper to buy this whole set than to buy these 4 sockets individually. So that's what I did. And it turns out that the E20 was the right size, so I can use it. And then I went to, right after I bought this, I went to O'Reilly's, and I found this guy. These are 1/2-inch drive, and they're from Titan. And they did have a 1/4-inch drive. Oh no, wait, are these 1/2-inch? No, they're 3/8. I wonder if they're all 3/8. Oh no, they're not. I haven't even taken them all off. So these are the bigger ones are 1/2 inch. These big ones are 1/2 inch, and then these small ones are 3/8. But they're all deep, the deep ones, which is what I like. So even though it doesn't have a 10, which is fine. What's funny is it starts off at 11, 12. And then it had another one. It did have one of these for the 1/4 inch drive, but I already bought this, so I didn't buy the Titan one. And the Titan one went up to, it had one more. It had an 11. So, which is funny because I'll show you in a minute the sizes that are possible, and the 11 is not one of them. So I got 2 sockets that can't, or no, I got this one socket that I'll never use because there's no such thing as an E11, at least not right now. So that's everything. That's that's what I got so far with Torx. I do want to show you something to think about. That's kind of, I talked about a little bit. So I said, if I take, let me go back to this E10. The E10 that I had, oh, here. I'll take that out, and I'll take 20 out, and the 16. Okay. So here's the Capri. Now when I was looking at these Sunex ones, I noticed that, let's see if you can even see this. So here you can see that it's up, the teeth come up higher, I guess. I'm going to call them teeth. I don't know what they're really called. See if I can. So you can see right here. Maybe I need a bigger pointer. Those are, you can see those, and then these are black sockets, so it's hard to see. See how they're recessed in there farther. And at first I thought, oh, that's not good. But this is what happens. So again, I was talking about this, how the distance from here to here, there's a gap right here. Right? Come on. So you can see that gap, and it has a little bit of a difficulty. The same with this big guy. I guess I'll pull out the pull out the 16. So when I put it on, there's a gap right here. And then when I use the Titan one, get the same thing, fits the same, has the same profile. And then when I use the Pittsburgh one, same thing. There's a gap. But when I use these Sunex ones, watch the gap. It fits in tighter. And it doesn't, it's hard to tell, but I can tell you right now it doesn't wobble as much. That's the 10. Here's the 1/2 inch 10 E10. Same thing, fills the gap better. Go to this one and this one, E16. Look at that, it just completely like envelops it. It is a lot, like all of them are loose. I feel like 16 is, none of them are the right size. Maybe because this is like the Torx Plus. Anyways, but it fills that gap up. And then this one fills the gap up. Just fits over better. I think it gets more grip. And then here's the 20. And again, it just fits right in there, no gap. So if you're looking for, I mean, I don't know how the bigger brands do it, like Snap-on. I don't know how the bigger brands do it like Snap-on, but Sunex, I would say that their Torx, their whatever they're using to machine the Torx sockets is better than all of these other brands, than Capri, than Titan. I don't know who else, anybody else who does it. So that's something to think about when you look at them. So to finish this off, I was just going to go over a few quick things with the rest of the things I've learned about Torx and E-torx. One of the things is that Torx was designed to not cam out, as opposed to Phillips, which is designed to cam out. That's why I really like using it for wood screws. Torx for wood screws is that I can use my impact driver and the screw just sinks in without a lot of effort. Whereas with the Phillips, you have to push hard for it to go in or out. Also, Torx is designed to take a higher torque as opposed to the same size hex, which is why, I don't know, probably for seatbelt fasteners is why they use them. Other places where I've seen them used doesn't really make sense, but they're just trying to, maybe they got a deal on a whole bunch of Torx. Anyways, so you can see the diagram that I stole from Wikipedia, and they just shows you why it's able to take more torque before it slips. Also, the company that developed Torx, eventually their patent expired, and so they developed, to stay on top, they developed Torx Plus. And Torx Plus is a little larger than the normal Torx, and it can take a little more torque than the normal Torx can. So they improved the design. You can use, of course, the nice thing about Torx is that there's not very many there's not very many options for it. And so, but Torx Plus kind of made it so that now there's even more, so that, not something we really want. But you can use a Torx socket on any Torx Plus fastener, but not the other way around. So a Torx socket will have a loose fit on a Torx Plus fastener, which is probably why I found some really loose fits, especially with the E16, because it's probably a Torx Plus, not a Torx. Anyways, here's all the sizes I looked up to try to find what are available sizes and make sure that I'm not getting no skip. And an interesting thing is that E11 and E22, a lot of sets will have those, but I haven't found them on any list of an option of a fastener that has it. Something to keep in mind, I guess. And also the T35 and the T47, sometimes those sizes are skipped as well. And I think it's because the T47 is probably like a special GM one, I think, and the T35 is a special one as well. So it's not as common. The T1 and the T2 I showed you what a T3 looks like, and it's minute, so I don't know. T1 and T2 have got to be absolutely small. So if you get as small as a T3, I wouldn't worry that much about a T1 or T2. And then the for the T70, 80, 90, and 100 are got to be really big. The T60 is usually where sets end. And so that 70, 80, and 90, and 100 have got to be huge, maybe for big diesel trucks. For the E-torx, going above a 24 is going to be a little rare, or 28. So the 32, 36, 40, and 44, those are going to be really big. But anyways, that's everything that I've learned about this, and hopefully it helps somebody out there. And thank you for watching.